Hey, and welcome back to the channel, and this is the base model 1199 M2 MacBook Air in this new midnight color, and this is the upgraded 1499 M2 MacBook Air in the new Starlight color. Now, if you guys missed my review on the M2 MacBook Air, make sure to watch that video first, which I'll link down below or in the iCard over here. Alright, so I'm sure if you're watching this video, you probably can't decide which version of the M2 Air you should go for. And the question you're probably asking yourself is the base model enough? Or maybe I should upgrade to the version with more SSD space and the additional 2 cores of GPU power. So in this video, we'll figure out if there really is a big difference between the two models, and hopefully you can figure out if you should just buy the base model M2 Air or the upgraded 1499 version, which I recommended in my M2 Air review. But stick around till the end because I have a pretty cool deal for you guys. Okay, so on the outside, there's nothing different between the base model and upgraded model. You don't get anything special if you do upgrade it, but I did want you guys to see what the new colors look like side by side. And like I said in my review, the new Starlight color is kind of like silver or champagne gold. It's kind of like a muted gold color or silver with a hint of gold into the mix, which I'm a fan of. Now, the new midnight color looks super cool, but it's not completely black. It's like a matte black MacBook, but with a hint of blue into the color. So if you're a fan of dark laptops, this is a really nice choice, but just be aware that it is a fingerprint magnet and it can scuff way easier than the Starlight model, especially around the MagSafe and USB-C Thunderbolt ports. Now, if you do want to protect your MacBook Air from minor scratches or dings, or even hide the nasty oily fingerprints, check out our channel sponsor dbrand. dbrand makes the best and most precise skins for your tech products, whether it's your new Pixel phone, your new iPhone, or even this new M2 MacBook Air. Now, what's really cool about dbrand is that you can get a bunch of different colors and ones with super cool designs too. So if you want your new MacBook Air to stand out, go to dbrand.com/heymarkl or check out the first link down below that like button to learn more about dbrand. And huge shout out to dbrand for sponsoring a portion of this video. Alright, now when it comes to its specs, it's all pretty basic and things that you can see from Apple's website when you're getting ready to buy, but basically the 1199 M2 Air is equipped with Apple's M2 chip with an 8-core CPU and 8-core GPU with 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage. But the usable space when you first boot up is somewhere around 220 gigs. And the upgraded 1499 version, on the other hand, is an M2 chip with an 8-core CPU and a 10-core GPU with 8 gigs of RAM with a bigger 512 gigs of storage, which you'll probably get around 475 of real usable storage. Okay, so now that we've got the specs all figured out, let's jump into my experience with the base model M2 Air. So like I said in my review, I reviewed the M2 Air, the 1499 version, for about 2 weeks now, and I absolutely love how it performed. I'm not really doing a ton of heavy video work on the Air. I have my 14-inch M1 Max MacBook Pro for that, but I did use the M2 Air as my daily computer for just about everything. From browsing the web, answering emails, hopping on Zoom calls for meetings, writing scripts, watching videos, and I even edited the entire review on that same laptop, and it handled it like a champ. Now, I've switched over to the base model M2 Air for about 3 days now, and I'll be honest, I actually haven't noticed anything that big of a difference once a few days have passed. I did initially notice that when I first set up the base model Air, I was downloading a bunch of apps and installing it on the laptop, and I noticed it was actually slower than when I set up the 1499 M2 Air. And the reason for the slow downloads and installs is probably because of the speed difference on the SSDs. Like I said in my M2 Air review, Apple chose to go with a single chip for the base model 256 gigs rather than splitting two 128 chips to get faster read and write speeds. And it's kind of crazy how much slower the base model is in terms of SSD speeds. So on the base model M2 Air, I was getting around 1200 megabytes a second on the write speeds and around 1400 or so on the read speeds. Now, while that is still pretty quick, it's a lot slower than the upgraded M2 Air that I've been using. So the 1499 M2 Air got around 2300 megabytes a second for its write speeds and 2600 megabytes a second for its read speeds, which is so much faster. Now, in reality, you probably won't notice the difference between the upgraded version to the base model, but if you are the type of person that deals with a ton of files and you're handling gigabytes day in and day out, you'll definitely notice a difference. Now, as a quick example, I transferred over 54 gigs of files from a Thunderbolt 3 external SSD to both machines, machines, and the base model M2 Air finished around 45 to 50 seconds, while the upgraded model finished around 26 seconds. Now, that's not really a huge difference in reality, but it will add up the more you transfer files. But if you are a student or using this for office work and you're just working on spreadsheets, writing essays, and doing, casual web browsing, watching videos, or even some light photo and video editing, in all honesty, you're really not going to notice a difference in speeds as much. The storage size, yes, that will be very noticeable, especially if you handle, gigabytes of files or videos. That will fill up pretty quickly. Now, another thing that I will say is that the additional 2 cores of GPU you're getting on the $1499 version is really nice to have, especially if you plan on doing a lot more video editing, but it's probably not necessary for the everyday casual user. Having the extra 2 cores will definitely help out if you're dealing, with heavy 4K videos or massive photos when you're editing, but in my opinion, it's not really all that different. It's about 2 to 3% at most. All right, now I will show off a few benchmark scores between the two models. Even though I don't really like benchmark scores, I would rather explain to you guys or share my personal experience with the device so that you, the person who's thinking of buying it, can figure out if this is the right machine for you, and hopefully I can give you my suggestions, which I will at the end of the video. Anyways, here's what I got from all the tests that I ran. In terms of Geekbench, you can expect the upgraded $1499 version to score just about the same, if not a % or so higher than the base model. So as you can see from the graphic I have on screen, there really isn't that much of a difference between the two machines. Now, where you will see that big difference, in my opinion, especially as the months or years go by, is that SSD performance. So to conclude this video, I want to give you guys my final suggestion on what to pick up. Now, chances are if you are looking at the M2 Air, your budget is somewhere around $1,300, maybe $1,500 after taxes, and you're someone who's going to be using this for school or office work, or just someone who's going to use this as their daily machine and don't really need anything super powerful, but you still want to do some light video editing, photo editing, and even some gaming through Apple Arcade or Xbox Game Pass. Okay, so my final suggestion for you guys watching this is to just pick up the base model, but upgrade that base SSD to 512 gigs. That should set you back around an extra $200. So the price is going to be $1399, and while this is only $100 less than the one with the 10-core GPU, but like I showed you guys earlier, the difference in terms of GPU power is maybe about 5% at most, and the biggest factor really is the SSD. Now, sure, you can choose to upgrade the RAM to 16 gigs, but I think that you guys should upgrade the SSD instead to give you far better day-to-day performance. Plus, you'll get about 230 gigs more of usable storage, which will come in handy as the years go by. Now, if you do want to get the best price and you are a student, you can actually get the machine for $1299 using the EDU portal through Apple. And just use the extra $200 that you were going to spend on, the $1499 version, and just upgrade the RAM to 16 gigs or buy AppleCare. So in total for $1479, you're getting 512 gigs of SSD and 16 gigs of RAM. Anyways, that's been it for this quick comparison video. I hope that this video helped you decide which one to finally pick up. And if you do want to see more videos from me, make sure to hit that subscribe button right below and hit that notification bell, because we are trying to get to 50K by the end of the year. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching, and yeah, I'll see you all in the next one.